was really, insightful, and actually it set us on the road to, kind of think and wonder how much of this we are doing in our schools actually. And if you ask me honestly, even the best of the schools are not, thinking about including this important segment in their school curriculum. If we start, uh, including this kind of at least an awareness in our schools right from the formative years, I think we can bring about lot many changes in the, in the way, in the mental setups of our boys as well as girls. I have taught in Delhi. I have taught in small place like Munnar, and believe you me that the way girls are looked at, or there is a subtle bias. It's not very obvious in the educated middle class families, but there is still a very subtle discrimination happening at various levels, which you just pointed out. In fact, I want you to go back to, there is one slide in which 4 areas you were showing. One of them was about sharing household responsibilities. There was 4 things. If you could just flash those 4 things, we would like to know. Is it possible?
There you go. So, sharing household responsibilities, challenging menstrual taboos, advocating for girls' rights to education in the community, preventing child marriages. Those were the 4 examples that I shared. There are many others.
Right. So, yeah, we could start with these 4 areas of thought and actually work forward from there. Anyway, thank you so much for this amazing presentation, and I'm glad that you're doing such wonderful work in this area. And now, dear participants, I now open the floor for the question answer session. Please type your questions in the chat box, or you can simply unmute yourself to ask your questions. And once again, I take this opportunity to thank the esteemed speakers. And now the floor is open for question and answers.
Hello, I am Kulwant. And I think the first thing I'm going to stop calling my son as hero. I do call him as a hero, but I'm going to stop doing it. Not that I pamper my daughters. They're married now, though, both of them, but somehow it comes out. So we should stop doing that, I think. I think it was very well said and articulated, and I need to do a lot of self-introspection now. I'm a retired principal and very conscious about the role and everything, but still I think there were a lot of gaps where I have to work on, and I could have done better. If I had met you earlier, it would have been good.
Hear you, Kulwant ma'am. Nice seeing you after such a long time.
Oh, you are the neighbor, right? Oh, I thought as much. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, right.
If I may say something.
Yes, Nandita ma'am, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christina ma'am. It was really overwhelming to hear, and as you, like Pooja ma'am was saying, to flash the 4 pictures, and I was looking at them second time intently. The first one says, the division of the household work. And I think that is very important because, as you rightly pointed out in the beginning, the patriarchal attitude, that sort of reduces if you start making the boys work in the house equally like the girls do. There are certain areas which is restricted, like kitchen is equal to women. It's like that, So, but then again, they debate that the best chefs are men. So this is very, this thing. So things like this always come up. So I, as a parent, I have a son, a 17-year-old son, and we are temporarily living here in Bangalore. And since I've kept no maid, So it's him and me who share the entire work. Like for like if I'm sweeping, he's mopping. So that kind of kills the ego also. That this particular category of work is only for women and this particular category of work is for men. This division comes right from the beginning because we behave like that. It's women who do that. So I think this is a pretty good this thing, like we teach, girls should do this, boys should do this, and that is where we start dividing. So this ego will, get killed if we start right from the beginning. That's a very, very important point. And the second thing that I wanted to say is how, if any school wanted to get in touch or kind of be oriented, for an orientation or something. So how does the school go about it? Because I think it's or how is it possible that such kind of education is, kind of an initiative taken that it could be kind of taken around to most schools.
In fact, you've echoed my thoughts. As a school leader, even I would love to have this kind of a curriculum in my school so that, we have to start from somewhere. And we should not be waiting for CBSE to, send a curriculum.
Absolutely,
Always, implement it at our own level. So if you could, give us some guidelines on that.
Yes.
Thank you for that question. The curriculum that we have developed is completely open source, so you can access it from our website. On our resources section, you will find various curricula. We also host a collaborative of different organizations. So if you're looking for a variety of resources, then www.projectraise.org, I'll put that in the chat. That is our collaborative platform where you can access different resources. So for the curriculum that we had developed for UNESCO, even that is open source. And you can access the materials online, and if you need additional help and additional training, please get in touch with us. We can provide that as well.
So if you could just give it in the chat box, we'll note it down quickly, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, I think
wecf.org.in, projectraise.org.
So those are the two links.
Our next question is from Rachna Joshi, madam. You can unmute yourself and raise your question. Rachna, are you there? I'll read out her question. In just a minute, it's gone up.
not able to unmute.
Not able to. Is the teacher training module used for CBSE available for everyone to access? That's her question.
Yes, you can access it from the ECF website. Pooja, I saw one more question by Charles, I think. Is it okay for me to address that?
You can.
Right. No, so I think that is an excellent question. How do you orchestrate an open discussion? So we set up the curriculum to be delivered in a participatory way. So there's a lot of question and answer. But
Could you keep the mic up so we can hear you better?
Yeah. So we also provide some additional help on facilitation. So we recognize that these are slightly difficult topics. So it helps to have some amount of background and training. So we've done it both ways. We provided the curriculum and people have used it, and then we've even provided training and handholding, and that has also.
I just want to add to that question. And at what age do we start this discussion?
I think it's never too early, right? Because I think as Namita ma'am mentioned and Kulwant ma'am mentioned, the socialization process begins almost as soon as you're out of the womb, right? So there's blue for boys and pink for girls. It all starts from there. So I would say that it's never too soon. But at the same time, if you're looking for interventions for school, then because at this stage we talk about adolescent changes and things like that, we suggest that 13 years and up would be suitable for this curriculum. But we are also interested in working with boys at a younger age. So I will let you know as soon as we have any materials ready for that age group.
I just have one last question for you, if you don't mind, please. The question basically is, I may sound a little chauvinistic over here. So when we are basically interacting with the female, all right, we are always asked to be more polite to them, etc. So would this be a gender bias?
No, so that's
Good
a
one.
good question, right? Because I think
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, so again, this is also socialization because at some
Yeah.
point we teach boys to be aggressive, and then because we don't want them to be aggressive towards everyone, we say, okay, so for a certain sex, you have been non-aggressive, right? But no, I think fundamentally, I mean, if I may speak for all women, I would say that I think we're all looking to be treated as equals. And we also understand that, there are certain advantages that, may be accessed again because of socialization, right? So the fundamental thing that we keep talking to our boys about is what is biologically determined and what is culturally determined. And if something is culturally determined, then think about whether it is equitable or not. And if it is not equitable, then we have to do something.
Charles, I would like to talk to you here. When we have reservations for women, especially in the buses and everything, and a woman makes, and I said women like their bread buttered on both sides. They want to be
Yeah.
treated like a man, and then they want the privileges of being a girl. So those things are also there.
Yeah. So
Yes, no,
that
so
was a
I
little
think
confusing, and that's where I came in.
The next
yes.
question we'll take,
No, but
we'll
Pooja,
move on.
may I address that? Because I think that is an interesting dilemma, right? All of us are grappling with that. So see, fundamentally, when we talk about equality, that is a goal that we're working towards, right? But because we have to reduce this gap, we have to have certain measures in place to allow women to access different opportunities. So, for example, even when traveling in a bus, because all the men have not internalized this idea of women accessing public spaces, they may still act inequitably and inappropriately. Right? So every time a woman experiences that kind of violence, they take a step back, right? And they feel that okay, I can't take the bus now, I can't go to work now, I can't access employment. Right? So somewhere until all of us reach a point where we have this common understanding of how women can access public spaces, of how people of all genders can access public spaces, we will still need to have these equity measures in place.
Right. Thank you, Christina. Now we move on to the next question, which is for Krishnan, and is by Arun sir, which says, "Can your organization provide guidance for making a curriculum for farming in a school?" Now, I just want to supplement this question by saying that there is one subject which is introduced. It's a skill subject, which is called multi-skill foundation course in schools. And this, it has one segment of agriculture. So Krishnan, can you, I'm sure you know about it. So can you contribute to that subject? Because already students are doing, multi-skill foundation course. So how
Sure,
can what you are advocating can be, superimposed on that in that course in CBSE schools?
sure. Very quickly, there are two parts to it. One is agriculture as a skill, as a livelihood that students can take up when they grow up. The second is to have an awareness, a sensitivity about the farming sector itself, so that at least each of us know that we are not taking the farmers or the food that comes to our plate for granted. We know the story behind it, right? And we became responsible enough to contribute to that. The first part of it, which is a skill part of it, is currently covered in some of the syllabus, as you rightly mentioned, but that is more towards building a skill foundation for future. But what we'll be quite interested. I responded that in chat also. Is we'll be quite interested to attempt to build a very short module with you all, so that we can develop a sensitivity towards agriculture topic for students. It need not be a huge syllabus. It can be a part of your extracurricular or a part of your science program that you're having right now. But we'll be very happy to look at that. And I was even suggesting that perhaps I can have a follow-up discussion with Dipankar and bring some of you on board to co-develop or co-create this module, and we'll be very happy to provide that support.
And which is very pertinent also, because agriculture as a skill, the students, especially in urban setups, they are not aware, and they are very uncomfortable with even touching soil, or planting plants in the pots. Such simple things also they are not very comfortable doing. So we could actually involve them not just in gardening but also in agriculture.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
like what you
exactly.
said, you connected the food which is kept on the table to agriculture. That connect is missing in most of the students.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. What it takes for a farmer to actually reach that food onto your plate, hardly we even think about that. That
sure.
is the sensitivity if we can develop through that syllabus that we talk about.
Yeah,
Skills, it'll keep on evolving more and more, because we are giving so much importance under the Skill India program right now to bring a variety of skill sets onto the plate. Whereas I will be much more interested in looking into that sensitization part of agriculture. And I'll
yeah.
be very happy to work with some of you through Dipankar on towards that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Miss Rinmai. She wants to pose a question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Uh, Good evening. I don't want to pose a question. I just wanted to add to what Mr. Krishnan said, and also to what Kulwant ma'am said. When you're, I mean, for farming, if you can connect specifically in the ninth and 10th, they have economics. So if you can help them to understand that how agriculture and economics are very, very uh, important, and because they do care for that subject economics. But if we can emphasize on farming and agriculture and how the economic growth can happen, that's very interesting, because children are very, very alert, and they want to learn about all these things, and also debates on whether farming and agriculture will yield better results, or technology will yield better results. So if we can have such kind of debates from 7th 8th standard, the children's awareness will improve and grow. And what you rightly pointed out, Pooja ma'am, yes, it's not only gardening, but we have to plant maybe potatoes and tomatoes and brinjals in the school in small, what you say, small patches where the children themselves will tend to it, so they'll understand the importance. And it is a doable thing, even if you have because our school is set up is very, very small, but we are doing all these things and they work very well. And to add to what Mrs. Kulwant ma'am said, and what Mr. Charles had raised about equitable situations, yes, actually all this is doable from playgroup. So if we do not have that girls can do this and boys can do this, everybody does everything that is in the school, whether it's picking up desks, washing dishes, clearing up the class. If they work at the same level, then you see this gender bias definitely reduces. And during life skill programs, we do invite people, and we would love to invite Christina Furtado's organization also, because children want these topics and they want to know more. They are very curious, and I think their curiosity should be addressed at
Yeah.
the right age. So sometimes all these things should happen about education and sex education, and you know from standard 5 onwards, because the children are exposed to a lot of media, and in last 2 years they've been exposed much more. So what is a good thing and what is not a good thing, all this should start right from standard 5, I would say. But equality in all work that is done in school uh, should start from play school, because we are practicing it and it really does help.
We have to walk the talk. Like we
Yes,
have to actually demonstrate equality in
exactly.
our various endeavors. Also, I don't know how much of this is practically possible, but I think certainly has to be part of the curriculum, which is education of the parents, because
Yes, absolutely.
a lot of it stems from there, and a lot of the impressions and habits are formed at home, and however much the school tries to debunk those habits or unlearn, make the children unlearn, such formative such things, impressions are made at home and reaffirmed, that this is it. What, let them say whatever they have to say, but this is how we function as a society. So we can't do this without including a program on educating mothers especially, or fathers. All of this, I think, is a necessity. Well, we move on to Mr. Nageshwar Rao. I think he has a question.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, all of you. Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. In our organization, I'm from Hyderabad. We invited one NGO. He has come and showed, with permission to all the children, food waste as a challenge. He distributed the plates and asked them to put their lunch, whatever they brought, in the lunch hall, ask them to eat without wasting, because it's the hard work of a farmer. So how a farmer works hard and irrigates and produce this, we are wasting in such a way, not knowing the value of it. So his objective was that, and whatever the mother gives, they try to eat. Okay, whether it is tasty or not tasty, they share it among themselves. However, ultimate aim is not to waste the food and give respect to the farmer. And he also quoted one example, somewhere in foreign country it happened, it seems. So the person orders and he wastes the food and goes. So the waiter says, "You are not supposed to waste the food, though you have lot of money, and this is a hard earned food and produced by the farmer. So this can be used for some good purpose, good cause. Those who have no food, it can be given." This is how we can educate the children and bring the value of the farmers in the education. I think Krishnan sir and ma'am both shared very well about gender sensitivity, all also. So all are equal. There is no unbiased, biased nature. And during the pandemic, I don't know whether you all heard in one of the webinars, I heard that, sorry to say, don't feel, boys prepared the sanitary napkins and they were given awareness and they distributed and they came to know the difficulty of all the other sensitivity part of it, right? So even government also encouraging and producing at the low cost and giving lot of importance to that. So that's how the differentiation is not there, all are equal. But equality is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we have Mr. R. Shanmuganandan. He wants to say something. Please go
Uh,
ahead.
Very nice of you. Very good of evening, all of you, and really much privilege giving a chance today. Very sensational topic and very important topics. Farmers and technology and gender equality. Superb, ma'am. See here, it's our culture, it's of Indian culture and heritage says that women are Shakti, the nuclear power, in which whole electrons around them. So this is a concept when I used to tell them when I teach chemistry. See, that's the reason why they are the center of the field and they take a key role and all that. You have to respect them. So even every science and bit says that Shakti, Shiva Shakti, like that. So both together equally important and that makes them to grow, make the children so that they are equal and they are now present generation, they know very well, man. You see the competition everywhere, top to bottom, left and right, general. They are competing with gents, and in fact, to be for a joke, even we get scared whether how about the future generation of the boys, how they are going to do. Such a thing is coming up. Such awareness has been created. On the other hand, as Mr. Krishna said, this agriculture farmers do, and they have to do it is in biology and all as a part of lesson, but make them feel and involve them with that. We have started our, thank God we got a very good land enough. Children of KG, they started planting and enjoying the fruits of it, like brinjal, potato and tomato and all. And this is the way then we slowly bring them step by step into the class, how they are connecting to the life, how they are all important. Thank you, ma'am. This is really very important, eye opener for everything. And as I said, it should be included in a curriculum, gender equality. But the boys should bring and make it a advertisement on this. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely, very relevant things you touched upon, because food. So much of food is being wasted by young children. The way they look at food is it's just like any other commodity, and for them, I have as a teacher, I have seen children just throwing their tiffins into the dustbins because they don't like the homemade food which their mothers have prepared for them, and then they would rather go to the canteens and buy food. So yes, food itself is an important issue which needs to be addressed. Miss Radha wants to say something. Go ahead. Miss Radha, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now I was sharing like both the speakers, whatever they shared in terms of, what is the condition of the farmers and how do we kind of bring in this gender sensitivity in terms of boys and girls. If at all I have to go back to our times of education where these were all not probably even taught about. The things that were taught were more to do with how you can survive. But right now we have to really think about going back to roots in terms of what is this in the prevailing Indian society, what are the things that we really need to come back. In that, I do see a value in terms of the farmer thing that that Mr. Krishnan shared. I felt that a lot of possibilities are there. Like from day before yesterday, we have been speaking about there's a lot of freedom that we get till class 8. Probably from 9th and 10th is a space where we are wedded to a particular curriculum and we have to kind of finish. But till 8, there is so much of a scope. So I really felt that these all need to become a part of the curriculum right from the beginning, say from the nursery till, not just be taught in 9th and 10th. 9th and 10th can be an extension in terms of, the economics are part of it. But for them to understand the root level, I felt, is important. And even gender that way, yes, it is important that boys and girls after a certain age really understand. But I feel, again, this is a process, right? We need to start from the beginning when the child enters rather than getting caught with kind of, a time and an age. Because if it is emerging, can we address it there rather than waiting for a session to be, taught where we are going to be addressing gender is my, 2 cents. But thank you. It was really very good to listen to both the speakers. Thanks.
Yeah, let me just say something. Like the wonderful part here is that whatever's being said today is overlapping with what was said yesterday. If you find, there are, and we were discussing yesterday on the fact that children are far removed from reality, so they must be taken to places from where they can learn, be it a garden or a jungle. And today we are kind of taking this ahead, which is so wonderful. Everything is so interlinked. So as rightly said, we should begin right from the start. And I wish all schools had the right or the capacity to kind of introduce this from the lower classes. I think that would bring about a sea change anyway. As Pooja ma'am was saying, why wait for CBSE to bring about let us be the policy changers or the policy makers, so we could inculcate that in our schools as well. So everything is going hand in hand. So that is what I was like liking so much. It's just an extension of, and so everybody agrees to what is happening. Thank you so much.
Correct. I think Mr. Rao wanted to add something, and then Ms. Kulwant can add what she wants to add. Please, Mr. Rao, are you there? I think he's not in the meeting. Miss Kulwant, you can add.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that how children are. I mean, why should we wait to teach anything? Now, this is something which you don't have to teach. You have to just create the climate. Something about Pooja you said earlier. We have to create the climate, and children pick up faster what is not taught to them. I feel what they see, they pick up faster. So that is what we have to learn. The teaching has to be very subtle in such a way that they will take it naturally up. I think that should be the way forward. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Absolutely right. The other day, we thought of one topic which I think I have kind of not enforced, but I'm encouraging my students to debate on, which is that feminism is also to be understood and enacted upon by the boys. Feminism has to be a subject to study amongst boys as well as girls.
Wonderful.
So that this topic is important for every one of us to understand and implement as educators.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
So, if we don't have any further questions, we can conclude today's meeting. This was wonderful. Both the speakers brought about some very uncommon and not very widely addressed topics of discussion, I would say. One is about food, and food, not only food preservation, but also about knowledge about agricultural practices. We are totally unaware. Even teachers are unaware.
Absolutely.
Of agricultural practices.
We did not know anything.
We can't empathize.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Go ahead,
Actually,
ma'am.
I have a question. See, if we want to introduce agriculture in our school, so there are some of the requirements to introduce this course. See, if we are merging them into the theoretical thing only, that won't solve our purpose. But as far as I feel that there are not that much grounds, or you can say fields where they can practice it. So it will turn out to be just one more type of excursion. Am I wrong? So I want to know, if I want to get this thing introduced in our school, what all requirements should be there and how we can execute this thing in our schools.
Mr. Krishnan, would you like to take this up?
Sure. Thank you. It's a very interesting question, because the first thing I will ask you, ma'am, is the purpose.
I'm Sunita Dhawan, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Sunita ji. Is the purpose to convert some of our students into agriculturists or farmers so that they can take it as a profession? Or is the purpose to make them aware of this huge sector called farming, which is so critical to nation building that they need to keep it as a important information as they build their career for future? Okay. Now, my feeling is that, at least to start with, if you can build that understanding, sensitivity, and knowledge about what we call as food systems, they will be able to build their own career based on some of those information that they have. Now, if they want to become a farmer based out of that interest, is something that school can perhaps identify. Out of the hundreds of students, you might find 10 of them who want to be farmers. I think the school can then direct them as a future course to some of those exclusive farming schools that are already available, agricultural colleges, agricultural institutions, etc. But at least at the school level, why don't we give them an overarching understanding, sensitization idea about food systems and food economy? That's what my suggestion would be, rather than trying to create a farm within school.
Thank you.
Wonderfully addressed. Very nice.
Okay,
Wonderful.
so this was so, holistic, I would say. This was extremely holistic in its own special way.
Very nice, very nice.
And I would like to thank my fellow esteemed speakers for joining us today for an enlightening session. I hope the audiences are walking out with insightful takeaways from today's session, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow again at 5 p.m. with another set of guest speakers. Till then, have a wonderful evening, all of you. Goodbye.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Both the speakers, Krishnan sir and Christina, excellent.
Thank you so much.
It was
Have a great day ahead.
rather very
Yeah. Good
fruitful
night. Yeah.
evening.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.